coming up with a recruiting schedule. Every time that I wanted to rank advance or really push, I recruit, talk to people, all that. In fact, I'm not as good as some of my leaders like Molly Dayton, who is a constant recruiter. She's incredible wherever she goes, right? But I'm recruiting and yeah, how many of you love Molly? You love Molly? I'm recruiting, but when I really want, I'm ready to push. I'm kind of, there are two different types of people. There are sprinters and there are marathon runners. I myself am a sprinter. How many of you out there are sprinters? Yeah? My husband is a marathon runner. My husband would rather do a little bit every once in a while. That's the way it works. Does that make sense? Me, I'm like, I just want to throw out a goal and go like crazy. And then and then after be like, I want to sit in a tub for 10 days. I don't know how many of you are like me, right? So anyway, I have to have a recruiting schedule. And I hold myself to this recruiting schedule, right? And I hold myself accountable, and my husband holds and by the way, I have accountability partners. Where are my accountability partners that we just barely ended? Where are they? Kristen isn't here. Are they in the room? That's how good my accountability partners are. Next. We're gonna talk about accountability partners tomorrow. Okay, so I'm gonna give you all the details on how to put a recruiting schedule together. Does that make sense? Woo. One person is excited about that call. Thank you. One person right there. Number 2. How to record your experience and record everything that happens with your builders so you know where you are and how to get back to it and just all of that. And then how to hold yourself accountable to others. This is going to happen tomorrow. We're going to talk about accountability. All of you are going to be put into an accountability program. Tell me you're excited. Okay. This is a key call. It's so key. In fact, without accountability, do you know that all that I did, because Emily challenged me to do it like that, I knew 7,000 people were holding me accountable every single day. I couldn't just not wake up at 3:30 in the morning. Does this make sense? I had to post something that day. I was held accountable in a really big way. I'm not saying that that's probably the healthiest for all of you, but we do have an accountability system. Next, how about this? How many of you honestly are afraid? You're afraid of contacting. It's scary to you. Okay, one person is. That's all. Yeah. Sometimes it's really scary. And we don't know how to overcome our fear, or just picking up that phone or what to say, right? So every single step of how to conquer fear. Now this, I remember, it wasn't until this call that I went to my husband and I had him listen to a full call. All the other calls I did myself, and I had him listen to a full call. And I was a little nervous because Patrick is my biggest fan, but also at the same time, he's what? He's my biggest critic. And he's the one that will say, I would redo that. And I'm like, are you serious? I was like, that represented like 10 hours. He's like, I'd redo it. So I was a little nervous. I let him listen to it, and I played the whole thing out, and he was sitting in his massage chair that I bought him for Christmas. That was his gift for Christmas. I am such an awesome wife. But I use it just as much as he does. Anyway, so anyway, he's sitting in his massage chair listening to this call. And at the very end, and his face was like acting like weird, and I'm like, oh no, he doesn't like it. And I told him this. This is how I want you to hold this. If it's not as good as the daily mentor calls or better, we scratch it and we start over. Has to be as good or better than the daily mentor calls. So he was listening to it with that type of a, help me, Steve. Not one, Steve, no. That type of an attitude. I'm never asking Steve again anything that doesn't have a 1 or a 2 answer. Nothing. Okay, so at the end of the call, he looked at me and he said this. And I was a little nervous. Because through the call, he wasn't like, oh, anything, nothing, just stoic. At the end of the call, he's like, that was amazing. I'm like, really? Do you really think so? And he goes, Allyse, every single person in doTERRA needs to hear that. I'm like, that made me so happy. It made me so happy, right? I think this is one of his favorite calls, Conquering Fear. So, next, That was a little arrogant that I just said that, huh? That was a freaking amazing call. In fact, it was just as good as any Tony Robbins call I've ever heard. No. Next, call number 4. This is where we go over perfecting that initial call. Or if it's live, I say call, but you can do it live, all of these things. I'll tell you this, I actually like to call better. Do you know why? I can use notes. I can refer to things. In front of somebody, I'm like, so how long have you been struggling with this? Doesn't work as well, right? But I can use notes when I'm on calls, and I do all the time. Even now, with other things, I still refer to notes to keep me on track, right? So, perfecting that initial call, what the initial call should look like, how to say it, what you're going to lead them through. It's scripted out for you, okay? Thank you. And it's things like someone you don't know, someone you know, a business, or like if you want to talk about business, if you want to talk about product, it's all that. Goes over all that, and you can test it. Next, the follow-up call. So you have the initial call, right? And then you have the follow-up call. And of course, we're not going to just do one touch to get these people into being business builders with you. You've learned that much this last 2 days, right? It's a lot of different touches we're going to talk about next. Actually, Patrick doesn't like me to call them touches. He likes me to call them contacts. And he's like, Allyse, you don't have 5 touches with these men. You have 5 contacts. I'm like, you're right. You are right. Okay. That was an important addition for Patrick. He changed it from touches to contacts. That was his addition to Find a Builder program. That's right. Thank you, Patrick. Next. How to get referrals. Now, I have to say, now as a triple diamond, I've kind of worked through a lot of my warm market, right? So the last time I was pushing, 2 months ago, finding a lot of builders, guess what? I only had 32 people on my list. 32, besides everybody in the Czech Republic, but guess what? Emily told me what? She wanted to be in the US, so I was like, okay, that, like the last 3 years of my life is out, right? Because I've been living in the Czech Republic. So I had 32 people on my list, and I went to Patrick, I'm like, this is a pretty pathetic list. We used to have a list of 250 people, right? And I said, but half of these people are people that are super influential that I can get referrals from. And most of my builders came from that. So it's how to get referrals. One person right here again is excited about that. Awesome. Next, call. Overcoming objections. So when you hit a wall and this happens and we go through the objections of, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money. How about this one? It's MLM. That's a big one, right? Do you want to know how to overcome that guy? Yeah. Or the objection of, I don't like essential oils. They don't work. Or I'm not really into that. Those are the 4 biggest objections I walk through and script it out for you. Show you exactly what to say, when to say it, how to do that, okay? Yeah. Next. This was Patrick's addition. Instead of 5 touches, it now becomes 5 contacts. We talk about exactly how you lay your contacts out. What's the first, what's the second, what's the third, what's the fourth, what's the fifth, and then a lot of multiple contacts. Like if you're dealing with Molly Dayton, it took me 3 years. That was a lot of contacts, right? One of my favorite calls is this one. How to seal the deal. This was the hard call. This one I had to go over and over and re-record it, and then I got to the very end of the call. It was a really sad moment for me last week. I got to the end of the call and I'm like, that is good. And then I looked back at call number 5. I'm like, oh, I totally forgot. I left some stuff out that needs to be in there, and so I had to redo it, do it all over again. All over again, I had to do it. I know, it's okay. You're welcome. I did it for my leaders too. I thought it's kind of pathetic that I haven't done it for my frontline, but next call. The power of consistency. Actually, we changed the title, but we didn't forget to change the slide. And the title now is, oh, Patrick, what is the new title? It was something awesome. I thought people would be like, oh, Unlimited Builders. Do you guys like that better?
Yes.
Yeah, I do too. I'm like, Unlimited Builders. The first thing I said on the call is, if you got on this call just because you like the title of it and you haven't listened to the 10 calls, repent and go to the first. Because you're never going to find Unlimited Builders unless you've already done the other 9. That was how I started this call. Because it was kind of a cool name, right? All right, now. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Should we do this?